Hi, I'm Panda Hershey, and I work with entrepreneurs using astrology to make strategic decisions and take day to day actions so that their businesses and their personal lives are in sync with the natural energetic flow of the universe. Welcome to the December 18th Coffee and Charts call, where we talk about what to do over the next 2 weeks now that the Mercury retrograde is over. And we even did a little bit of business coaching at the end. Listen to our conversation so you'll know what to do day by day over the next 3 weeks, and I'll see you on the other side. Good morning. How is everyone today? It is cold here.
Yes.
It looks cold there.
It does.
Oh, well, the Mercury retrograde is over. Yay. And now we get to finish up the year, hopefully strong and getting clarity. Welcome, Antonia. So good to have you.
Good morning. It's nice
All
to
right. Well, we get to cover 3 weeks today because the first Wednesday of the month is going to be January 1st. And no one wants to meet at 8:30 that morning. So we're going to push everything a week later. And so we're going to cover 3 weeks, which will get us to January 8th of 2025. I don't know if you guys can believe it. It's incredible. I am still remembering what I was doing back in May. And so here we are, and let's just jump in. And surprisingly, it's actually a pretty simple couple weeks to get through the year. Welcome, Lilia. It's good to have you. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my slides here. And I'm going to bring up the very first one so we can kind of get oriented. And if this is your first time joining us, what we do is we watch the planets move over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And just to orient you, this is like a snapshot of where I am in Berkeley, California at midnight on today. So about 8.5 hours ago, actually, I think it's noon. I take it back. It's noon. And so this is the sun, for example. That is the little symbol for the sun. And the natural movement of all of the planets is in this counterclockwise direction. So, oh, sorry. It's in this, wait. The natural movement is through in this counterclockwise direction. And can you see that? Yes. And we'll watch all of these planets, the ones that are not in retrograde, just starting to move in this direction. And the easiest one to see is the moon, because that moves about 12.5 degrees a day. So it'll like jump in big jumps every day. And some will hardly move at all, like Pluto, that only stays in like this tiny little space of 2.5 degrees all year. And so we'll watch that move every day. And I'll give you a little commentary on what it all is going to mean, and hopefully give you some tips on how to navigate the time using this info. Oh, good. So great to have you. Okay. Oh, Lilia, great to have you. Okay, so where are we? Well, on the 18th, we are 3 days past the end of the Mercury retrograde. And on that day, Mercury, it's almost like it came to a standstill because it stopped moving backwards and had to start moving forward. So it's like it's shifting gears. And that means that it has been moving incredibly slowly. So if your brain has been feeling like mush and unable to get things going, this is why it's felt like that for the last 3 days or so. And now it will start to move a bit faster. And over the next 3 weeks, you'll be able to see Mercury here start to speed up. And that will help your mind get going. So if you've been really frustrated with yourself notes, thinking, I know I should be able to think my way through this and get this going in my head, relax. It's coming. It's coming. I promise. The other thing that's happening is that Mars stationed retrograde also on the 6th of December, and it is moving backwards through Leo. And what that means is if you have been trying to get your talents noticed, like what you have to offer, out into the world and wanting people to appreciate it, it's time to kind of step back for a bit and recognize what worked and where you need to retrench a bit to figure out how you're going to come back. I have been comparing it to auditions. If you've ever tried out for theater, you go out there and you put your best foot forward and you always walk away with, oh my gosh, I know I could have done that better. Or, oh, I didn't realize they were looking for that. And you get to come back and go home, think about it, and hopefully get a call back to come forward again and do a better job with that audition. And so this is what we're getting to do, is like retreat, consider how to do it better. And we will get this opportunity starting in late February. I know that's a long time to wait to come back. Okay, so that is basically where we're at, and we're finding our way forward through the rest of the year. We got a hint of what 2025 is going to look like. Maybe you've got some hint of that, a new paradigm for 2025 and how you need to do things differently. And you may also be recognizing how you need to be spending time with perhaps a whole different crowd, or be selective about who gets you and who you need to spend time with on a day-to-day basis. So with all that in mind, let's take a look at the next 3 weeks. So quite honestly, over the next week, there is really not as much in particular to point out to you. Everything is just chugging along until December 24th. Mercury, as you'll see it picking up speed this way, it is opposite this Jupiter portal for about a week. And this is as you're finding your path forward and getting this chance to rethink and fill the gaps in your awareness that you had, you noticed over the Mercury retrograde. How are you pulling in that expansion in your awareness that you developed over the summer? Somehow you were able to shift your mindset and recognize, oh my gosh, this is a different way to look at things. This is a whole new perspective on life. And how are you going back and pulling that mindset into finding your path forward? So you get a week of that. And on the 26th, the day after Christmas, if you celebrate, it is exactly opposite Jupiter. That may be a day in particular where something just clicks for you. And you might be recognizing, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting better at using that mindset. It is starting to click. I know how to take it forward. On the 29th, Chiron here starts moving forward at 19 degrees of Aries. So this is getting you ready to actively cultivate curiosity as you bring something important to people's attention. how can you do that with zero expectation or no attachment to the outcome, but just put it out there. You know it's important. And how can you just say, let's just see what happens? And we can talk more about this as you start to experiment with it. But maybe it is, do I have the right audience? Am I doing it at the right time? Am I getting the message out in a way that people can receive? But that's kind of the things to think about when no one is quote getting it, or if you need to, the person that you're trying to bring something to their attention, that you need to like figure out how you're going to do that, that you consider all the different ways of bringing that to their attention. On the 1st, so there's that week, Mercury is finishing up being opposite that Jupiter portal here in Gemini, where you were expanding your awareness. And you will get to do that again starting in February. And on January 2nd, that whole Mercury portal completes. So what has the last 8 weeks been like for you in terms of finding your way forward? Think back to early November and how you may have felt very stuck and very caught between a rock and a hard place at that time, wondering how you were going to finish up the last 2 months of the year. And here we are nearly at the end. And what have these last 8 weeks shown you? What clarity do you have? And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the summary, but it will have been an 8-week journey. And then on the 6th of January, Mars is moving back into Cancer. And that will be about committing to your intuition. And this is more internal work. There may be a lot of distractions of trying to keep you from listening to your intuition. But this is about getting very clear for a couple months about what your senses are telling you. And when you are clear, this is how you can attract people. So if you are a business owner, it may feel a little bit like, you know what, I need to retreat just a little bit and know what I need to do. And with the people who are already on board, I can get very excited with them and brainstorm with them and figure out what I know is right for me. And then you'll be able to take it forward a little bit later in February. At the same time, on January 6th, the sun here is opposite the Mars portal, which is stretching from Cancer into Leo. And this is about figuring out how to take that energy that you were so passionate about back in November, early November, when you're like, I've got to do something. What am I going to do? And you're listening to yourself and you've learned something. And now you get to pull it all together into a framework or a structure and figure out how you're going to put it all together to move forward into 2025. And on the 8th, that's when we meet again. So really these next 3 weeks are about just getting clarity for the first 2 weeks until January 2nd. That can be your focus. If you've identified gaps in your awareness, then those are the things that you want to fill, probably by talking to other people and maybe doing a little research. But that it's not a complicated time, but it doesn't mean it's It's a simple time, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It's what my yoga teachers always tell me about these level 1 poses. They're not complicated, but it doesn't mean they're easy. Okay, so we're going to go back. I'll let you watch that again. So some fun things to watch just as the planets are moving is how quickly the moon moves around. And you will watch Mercury start to speed up, and this gap between Mercury and the sun will slowly start to close. And you can also watch Mars down here, that little red tick, slowly move backwards. Okay, here we go. Okay. I always think that's so cool. That's the nerd in me. All right. So over the next 2 weeks, this is your opportunity to find that crystal clarity. And it likely is coming from somewhere outside yourself, meaning talking to someone or figuring out what the world can teach you is going to help you find that path forward. And this is just a great time to think about what the last 8 weeks have taught you about what it means to move forward into 2025 and this new paradigm, this new way of doing things. You get to do things differently in 2025. To identify the right ways to move forward, there are a couple questions to ask yourself. What or who made you feel appreciated and welcomed for what you bring to the table? And really tap into that. They may be the people who can help fill gaps in your awareness or help you encourage you to keep going, especially as you need to retrench. But that was that Mars in Leo energy all through the Mercury portal. How are you releasing the need to do things in the same old way? There was this hint during the retrograde of how you get to do things differently. And taking note of that, if you're not sure how you're going to incorporate it right now, again, finding a coach, finding a sounding board to say, someone who knows you and say, this is probably something I need to stop doing. I need to stop doing it this way. Doesn't mean I don't have the same goal, but I need to approach it in a different way. How can I do that? Can you brainstorm with me? Your mind went through this huge expansion over the summer from like mid-July until early October. Think about how you expanded your awareness or thought about change your mindset in some way. How are you tapping into that right now and making it part of you? Because you're going to get to do it again in February. So think about that, how you bring that in. And right now, it's going to be time to start honing your intuition as Mars starts to move back into Cancer, and you get to really listen to it and trust it. Because that's actually where your growth is going to be later this year. So I'm excited about that. Okay. So just a little recap. Back on the 15th, Mars started moving forward. So what gaps in your awareness, what blind spots need to be filled over the next 2+ weeks until January 2nd? Just think about what is it that I'm like, oh, I wish I knew that, or I need to figure that out. How are you going to fill that gap? From that week from the 24th until January 1st, just recalling, like, how did I start thinking about things differently over the summer? How did I shift my mindset, expand my way of thinking? How can I use that to find my path forward into 2025? On the 29th, when Chiron moves forward, how are you ready to bring important topics to people's attention with zero expectations or attachment to the outcome? And in the other direction, how are you opening your heart to what others are bringing to your attention? Sorry. On January 2nd, the Mercury portal is over. So again, what have these last 8 weeks shown you? Great time to journal about that and your way forward. And some key questions on how you know the right path forward to get that crystal clarity is, how do you feel great about what situations made you feel great about what you bring to the table? Who appreciated it? How are you going to come back to that? Because that is your path forward. And cultivating discernment about who should be part of your life going forward. It may be serving different clients. It may be changing who you commute with. It may be who you decide in your work environment, whether it's your teammates or who you're hanging out with every day. Who gets it? Who do you not have to explain yourself to? Where is it just easy to be with people in a day-to-day kind of way? And that is going to get more and more focused until through February. On January 6th, Mars re-enters Cancer. So it's time to retreat a bit from trying to insist, I say is the word I have here. But you know how you can feel as though you've got something so important that you're just trying to get people to pay attention to it. You care about it so much, but this is more of an internal fire. So think about sharing it with only a few select people for a while. And when you are trusting yourself and you are confident in your own intuition, that's when people become curious about that and want to learn more and will be attracted to that, the law of attraction. And finally, see if I can move this out of the way, with the sun opposite the Mars portal for nearly 3 weeks, this is the time to tap into your intuition, to distill what you've learned over the last 8 weeks, especially into some kind of framework or structure, or figure out what is the most important part that you're going to take forward into this new 2025 paradigm. And so, tips for thriving, just until January 2nd, just fill gaps, pick a hole and fill it. Who can I call? Who can help me? Who can coach me? Where can I find that answer? That's enough. That's enough to do. And to find that way forward into the new year, here's your 2 things. 1, are you doing things differently? And 2, does it feel like it is fun, easy, light? Can it have the potential for that? Are you excited about having that come into full blossom in 2025? Then that's probably your way forward. If it feels heavy or you're dreading it, then that is not the way. And starting January 6th, you get to dive into your intuition, because in late February, you'll get to restart the process back in November to show what you care about to the world. But now you'll be a little bit older and wiser. And just as a reminder, This is going to continue into 2025. Our January dates are the 8th and the 22nd, not January 1st. And if you need the ad event to put it on your calendar, just DM me on Instagram, or if you can always email me at It's Panda Hershey to get the links. So I am going to see if there are any questions or if there's any coaching anyone wants to navigate these next 2 weeks, finding their path forward. If you haven't found any holes you need to fill but feel like you don't have a path forward, this is a great time to talk about that as well. Just you can raise your hand or unmute yourself. Go for it, Jen.
Hi.
Good
Here's
morning.
my question. I would love an opinion on this. So I've figured out kind of a lot about the structure that I want to use going forward. And that's this like mini retreat structure for burnt out women. Because that worked. And I'm gonna recreate what I did in person virtually. And I'm stuck on the date. So I'm listening to what you're saying, and I think I was thinking about doing it January 5th, a virtual one. And from what you're saying, I think that's still kind of gap filling time and that I should leave it for a couple of weeks. But I'm feeling the pressure to do it because I want to launch my program in January. And I want the retreat to kind of feed into that. Like that's kind of a low ticket item to feed into my program. So I'm feeling this pressure. So I don't know, maybe you can help me with just figuring out this date based on what's happening.
So a virtual retreat. Okay. And you have all of the materials ready to like put the emails out and all of that.
I feel like, so I've got the material, like I've had the guidebook and everything from my in-person retreat. I guess I feel like maybe I'm answering my own question. I feel like people aren't going to be on social media and email to hear about it in the next 2 weeks. They're too busy with other stuff.
Energetically, they're trying to fill their own gaps. So if you are helping them figure out and I always encourage people to use my messaging, like what I say on here as part of calling people in is if, the last 2 months have been difficult and you are trying to find your way into a new paradigm in 2025, maybe you need a break for a moment for some quiet space to do this little retreat. And is there any reason you couldn't do the retreat more than once, but change the messaging, but have the content be the same?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
I think does that make sense to you to use this messaging of calling in for a retreat at this particular date and then changing the messaging to call people in for another reason to fill another gap, but the same tools to help them, right, continue on their journey because the messaging will change.
Yeah, the messaging will change over the month of January, especially with what I do.
Yeah.
It's funny, when you said that, I heard it as maybe I need, like when you first started talking, I heard it as maybe I need a break, which I maybe it's just me that needs the break and not my people need a break to fill their gap.
That could be true too.
Which is now just okay. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna use my intuition and figure it out.
There you go.
Thank you.
Great. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to have, there will be a link for the 2025 calendar in the next email. Thank you. Anyone else like any coaching? Any questions at all from navigating these next 2 weeks? Yeah, Faith. You're still muted.
Sorry,
There
my,
you go.
my mouse wasn't working. So this period of filling in the gaps between now and the 2nd, just this morning I was thinking about how I'm going to put out the messaging to start this membership. Anybody who wants to become a founding member can join in January, take advantage of January to join at the reduced rate, and then we'll start in February at the regular rate. So founders will get in for the month of January. And I thought, oh, it's just going to be a regular, typical membership. And then this morning I thought, well, some people might not want to be in the group setting and they would want one-on-one. And I haven't offered one-on-one in this way.
Mhm.
And I haven't really offered on-site group locally. And I thought, oh, now that you say those are thinking about gaps, I'm thinking, oh, maybe those are the gaps that I can offer to fill. They have 3 options. They can be part of the group, the online group. They can do one-on-one if they want more hand holding, maybe for a 3-month container for one-on-one, which I've never offered. And then anybody locally, if they want to do an on-site workshop for a higher price point, a higher ticket, I can come in and do a custom, 3 or 4 hour. So I guess my question to myself and to you is, would those be considered the blind spots that I haven't considered before, and maybe just mull over those options for the next 2 weeks and send out an email offering those 3 options that people can think about for the next 2 weeks, and then they can
Sure.
decide which one they would like to choose by January.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with overwhelming people with too many options. But I thought if I put out the emails in the next 2 weeks, they'll say, oh, and then let them know you have time. Just letting you know now, you don't have to figure it out until January. Take these 2 weeks and enjoy your holidays. But
Mhm.
just giving you a heads up now so you can get ahead of it and you can get in on it before anyone else if you choose to.
Are of the 3 options, are there any that feel heavy?
No, that's the thing.
Okay.
They don't feel
That's
heavy at all. I feel like
okay.
I'm helping someone who may want the one-on-one option. And if someone wants to do an on-site group workshop, that's fun too for me. So,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't seem, I'm constantly thinking of that light and easy theme
Yeah.
now. So yeah, they don't feel heavy. I'm just wanting to work with the timing and the dates for this messaging and not vomit all over everybody with all these different offers too much too soon. But I think giving that 2 week buffer between today, send out the email and say, letting you know now, think about it, enjoy your holidays. I'll get back to you. I'll follow up with more opportunity in January, and you can tell me which one you'd like.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Good.
Good. I feel good with the dates and the timing. Everything you say, I'm plugging into my calendar every
Excellent.
single day. So I have the reminders. Great. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Min or Shannon, anything at all that I can help you with?
Think I'm still shaking off the bogged down and treacle feeling of the last at least few days. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I kind of know where I'm going.
Okay. Good. Good. And Shannon, it's great to have you. If you have any questions, great. If not, then I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Very restful, I hope. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting ride in 2025 where we get to call in our community and really get to bring something to their attention. I'm so excited for that part of it, and just to know that none of us will be alone. So, great. Okay. Have a great day, you guys. Happy holidays. See you in 2025, unless you're like with me in Compass, when we have one more call. Okay.
Thank you
care.
so much. Thank you, Panda.
Bye. I hope you feel prepared to move easily over the next 3 weeks. Take the rest of the year to find your path forward into 2025. You are stepping into a new paradigm. And if you identified any blind spots or gaps in your awareness during the Mercury retrograde, this is your chance to go fill them. If you'd like to join us on the next Coffee and Charts on January 8th, just DM me at It's Panda Hershey on Instagram, and I'll be sure to send you the link. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.